welcome once again to another episode of Stu Him Productions Presents
JDM, Solve the World. I am James.
And I am Matt. And on this very first podcast, not an alcohol review,
Right.
but podcast of 2024, returning because everybody loves her.
Exactly.
Your granddaughter, I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's give it up for Kaitlyn. There we go.
Hit the right button.
I may have had a little bit to drink, and I'm not wearing my glasses. Damn, I'm not wearing my sunglasses. I'm not wearing my actual glasses because just...
It's 8 hours to Chicago, and you don't have glasses on. Yeah.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hit it. Kaitlyn's like, what?
I'm
Yeah.
lost.
The Blues Brothers. Greatest movie ever.
He's got the tattoo on his belly to prove it.
You've seen the calendar.
I have.
Yeah. It was a lot smaller on that calendar up there.
Oh, my God.
You haven't seen that calendar
I
yet, have
haven't
you?
seen that one.
That calendar was also from 1998.
Yeah, I know.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
That was BK
Yeah.
before Kaitlyn.
It was before me.
That was WBK.
Way.
Way before Kaitlyn. All right, so tonight we're going to get into something that we haven't talked about.
Something we've kind of tried to steer away from.
Yes.
The controversial subjects or politics and
Sex and religion.
oh, we talk sex all the time, but you know, ish.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. No.
But new year,
Yep.
new season.
Going down the rabbit hole.
Let's go down a big rabbit hole and let's see if it's one show or if it becomes two.
It could become two.
Tonight, we're going to talk about conspiracies.
There you go. Do you think we need stogies for this?
Kaitlyn?
Sure.
All right. We have stogies. And let's see, there's another ashtray right behind you.
We should have dipped these in that shot.
Should have.
Yeah.
Could have.
Wasn't even thinking about it.
But here, I'll let you go ahead and do those. I'll do that. And we'll do a little bit of this. There's a lighter for you. Bro. Wow, these are actually fucking sealed. Okay. There's that for you. Okay. Mm-mm.
I got one, but I will take this one.
Go ahead and do this. Now I will use my lighter.
Okay. If it goes out, I've got one back here too.
Okay, so to start off with, let's talk a conspiracy theory that predates all of us.
Ooh, okay.
The Kennedy assassination.
Okay. Which one?
JFK.
Okay.
Because he died first.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, RFK died when you were alive.
Yeah. He was.
Okay.
I think he was running for president
Yeah.
in 68.
Yeah, after...
or for the 68 election.
Yeah, after Johnson.
Right.
So, everybody believes, and the media announced that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK with a bolt-action piece of shit fucking Eastern Bloc.
Was it Eastern Bloc or I thought it was Italian. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the details. It was a crappy. It wasn't a 30-06
No.
United States military.
No.
Weapon.
It was like a 7.23873 repeating
69
millimeter whatever. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not 100% on it.
Yeah.
But Mythbusters
Uh-huh.
and so many top snipers in the world have tried to pull off that shot.
Right.
Did it not light?
I think it went out.
Even Jesse Ventura, who was a Navy SEAL on his.
Fuck, mine went out too. Son of a bitch.
Got to keep sucking on it, man.
That's what she said.
Yeah, there's been several that's tried to. It's not so much the shot itself,
Yeah.
as the range wasn't tremendous or anything
Nope.
by that matter, but it was the firing the 3 shots within that period of time.
Right. With a bolt action.
Right, a bolt action that, I mean, with a good bolt action, yes, but with that particular gun would have been
With a modern bolt action,
right,
yes, you could.
right.
Now, there's a book by an author, Stephen Hunter. It's a fictional book, but in all of his books, when he starts talking ballistics, he's 100% correct because he does his research on them.
Right.
Now, everybody believes that Lee Harvey Oswald was in the book depository building, which 100% was true. But in Stephen Hunter's book, The Magic Bullet, which is a Bob Lee Swagger series, which, of course, his book, Point of Impact, became the movie Shooter. Now, Stephen Hunter's book takes place post-Vietnam. Shooter takes place current day.
Right.
Now, in the book, The Magic Bullet, the shot came from the textile building, which was directly down after Kennedy, after the motorcade made that left in front of the book depository building. That textile building was right there on that corner. And the shot...
In front of?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as they were driving away towards the bridge, the grassy knoll, that's where the shots came from. And in the book, they had taken Lee Harvey Oswald to the shooting range with that rifle. And in certain instances, you can pull the slug out and wrap it in paper and make a new bullet out of that projectile. And with it wrapped in paper, it's not going to pick up the barrel markings that a bullet gets. Because that's something that a lot of people don't seem to understand is each barrel has its own grooves.
It's like a fingerprint.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why they do the ballistics, and you can match up the bullet with the gun that fired it.
Right.
And, I mean, that's as old as
Right.
since there's been rifling in barrels.
But that's the thing is you wrap it in paper, that paper burns up as it's coming out of the barrel and it doesn't get any new marks. So it's got the marks of Oswald's gun. Because Oswald, and this is fact, Oswald was not a good marksman in the Marine Corps.
Right. What, he kicked out of the Marine Corps?
Bingo.
Yeah. Not because of his shooting ability, but just because he was a dipshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when Russia, when the Soviet Union, when communist Russia, communist Cuba doesn't want you.
Right. If you'd have been an asset to the United States and you left and wanted to go to Russia or Cuba, and they said, nah, you weren't that much of an asset.
No.
I mean, that, bring it down into layman's terms. If you're a pitcher for a team and you want to go somewhere else and nobody wants you, well, you probably suck.
Yeah. Or you end up being the greatest pitcher in the world and the team decides that they don't want you. Nolan Ryan. The Angels let him go. The Astros let him go, and he fucking threw his 7th no-hitter, his 5,300 fucking strikeout that nobody will ever come close to.
Or you could beat Boston and let the babe go. Whole other subject there.
Yeah. But, the Kennedy conspiracy has went on for, what is that, 30, 40, 50, 60 years?
60 years now, yeah.
And supposedly the records were supposed to be unsealed when the last person involved died. But then they resealed them.
Right.
So
they're supposed to be released the first of the Biden administration, I think. It wasn't?
Going back further.
No, but I mean, it was supposed to be released again.
Yeah.
And then something came about, and it got resealed back up, and it's like, okay, what the fuck,
Right.
Then there's a whole, when he left Dallas and he got to Washington, to Bethesda, and his brain was missing.
Okay, so Jackie has talked about that. And so is Robbie before he was killed. The only two people.
I mean, I know a good chunk of it was missing after the shooting.
Right.
But there was still brain in there.
Right.
But that was gone when they got to Bethesda.
Well, Jackie and Robbie, because no funeral home did anything to Jack. There was a funeral home that brought a casket for Jack to go back to Washington in. Because at that time there was a big thing about funeral homes and that racket, because the mean annual salary was like $3,500 a year, and your average funeral was $3,200.
Right.
So the Kennedys, specifically Jack and Jackie, were against funeral homes. Jack is buried in a very modest casket.
Right.
Jackie is buried in the exact same casket next to him at Arlington.
Right. Been there.
But the Navy took Jack's body off of Air Force One, and the Navy were the ones that did the reconstruction. And when they were done, Robbie and Jackie were the only two people to see Jack laying in that casket. Because Robbie told Jackie, and she was still wearing the pink dress with the blood on it.
Yeah.
Robbie told Jackie, you don't want to see him. and because Jack laid in state at the Capitol building. And, of course, there's Marines that guard the president. Robbie had them leave, and he opened the casket, and he looked at Jack. He closed the casket, went back out, and told Jackie she didn't want to see Jack because that wasn't Jack. And she went in, raised the casket, said her goodbyes, and she laid there. She was there with him for a while. And then once she closed that casket was never opened again. Those two people that saw Jack after the Navy personnel at Bethesda, those two people are dead. So now...
And that brings up the case, too. Why would Jackie marry Onassis, who was a Greek billionaire?
Protection.
Exactly. Because she knew there was some shit that wasn't right. And, I mean, because she didn't marry, she might have married him for his money. She didn't need the money.
No.
And he was an ugly son of a bitch.
Yes, he was.
But protection.
Right.
She knew that the Greek mob, whatever, could protect her.
Yeah.
And she would, that just shows she was scared for her life.
I mean, okay.
When she got off the plane, still in that dress, and she walked up to Johnson, you could read her lips. It said, "Look what you did to my husband."
Yeah.
Whether Johnson had anything to do with it himself or just because it was in Dallas, which was his home state, or what, she believed something was going on there.
At the same time, Jack was the one that chose the convertible.
Yeah. Well, he wanted people to see him.
Exactly. But now, according to a best-selling author and former mob associate, whose co-author was a detective with the NYPD. He was a private investigator that busted the Catholic priest touching little boys thing. States that it was the mob that took out Jack because Joe promised Frank Costello and the other mob bosses that the United States would take back Cuba from Castro, and the Italians would get their Riviera back.
Right. There's a whole nother conspiracy theory we can tail off of this deal here.
Oh, yeah. And
we'll get to that.
Jack, as soon as he got elected, he said, fuck his dad. And he appointed Robbie as the attorney general.
Who came down hard.
Who hated the mob.
Yeah.
Hated that his dad made billions during Prohibition running fucking liquor.
Yeah.
The 1920s.
Right.
Joe Kennedy and Frank Costello made billions of dollars in 1920.
Right.
I'm not talking billions of dollars in 2024.
Not billions in today's money.
Yeah, no. Billions of dollars in 1920. But yet,
a lot of them think that the mob got Jack elected.
Yes.
You
they controlled the longshoremen. They controlled the Teamsters.
Right.
They controlled the unions.
Right. Kaitlyn's going, this is way before my time.
I don't know much about this topic. I have been to the memorial in Dallas.
Oh,
Yeah, I had.
Nice.
It was 2 or 3 years ago I had went, and it's very cool. They have where it all happened. They have these statues. And they have the signs telling the story. That was very cool.
Don't they have the spot marked in the street?
They do.
Yeah.
Yep, the exact spot. And then one of the signs, I don't think it was marked on a building, but somewhere on the sign you could look at the building that supposedly the shot came from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this is before our time.
Right.
But when I was in
You know what?
junior high.
Not to cut you off there,
Yeah.
but it's funny. The Zapruder film
Yes.
didn't come out till 14 years later,
Yes.
and it was a comedian
Yep.
that released it on
Donahue.
Was it Donahue or Dick Cavett?
Donahue.
Was it Donahue? Yeah.
Yep. Because it was daytime.
And that was the first time that film had ever been seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the whole thing. You see, and Jack, a lot of people at the time especially didn't know that his back was fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And he wore a back brace.
Yes.
So when everybody else is diving down in the car, he's sitting up perfectly straight because he couldn't move.
Right.
And then you see that one shot in the back of his head just go poof. And
Jackie.
the
Secret Service.
Secret Service guys are climbing up over the back of the car,
Mm-hmm. And Jackie is reaching back there.
yeah, exactly.
But that's a line from the movie JFK that Oliver Stone released. And that was a line that Kevin Costner had said, back and to the left, back and to the left. So why is a shot coming from the back sending a person to go back and to the left?
Like we were talking last night.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the thing on Spike TV years ago, and it
Yeah.
was ballistics and everything, and they were the sniper rifles of World War II.
Yeah.
The 30-06 for the Americans, the 303 British for the British, and the 8mm Mauser.
Yep.
The 303 and the 30-06. Once it hit the gel, it was a small entry and a big export, but then there was a back pressure that blew out the backside.
Mm-hmm.
The 8mm German didn't do that. It was a small entry and just a big explosion in the back.
Right.
You could say, well, that's what happened there. But
It wasn't.
like you say, that would have been a forward and then a reverse kabloom.
Well, no, it would have been a straightforward.
That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
went forward from the impact, and then if it was a back pressure like the 303 or the 30-06, then that would have happened. But like you say, it was back.
And to the left.
Yeah. So that tells you that there was a bullet came from the front side.
Yes. And the mob, allegedly, went after Jack instead of Robbie, because had they taken out Robbie, then Jack would have turned his attention on the mob.
Right.
Because at the time, the FBI wasn't doing anything to the mob
Right.
because they were blackmailing him.
Right.
J. Edgar Hoover, they had photos of him in drag, and he was gay. And in the 1960s, it was not cool to be gay. I mean, fuck.
Especially when you're the head of the FBI.
Yeah. The 1970s. Freddie Mercury hid it for how long?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even let his bandmates know that he had AIDS until a couple months before he died.
Right.
And he didn't go public until a couple of days before he died.
Right. Elton John didn't really hide it, but he didn't come out until late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, you could watch his performance and like,
Oh, yeah.
that's not just a rock star, he's gay.
Well,
I mean,
Rob Halford,
that was one that blew me away.
he didn't come out until he was the grand marshal of a gay pride
Right.
parade in Phoenix, Arizona.
That was the one that blew me away because you would think the metal god
Right.
comes out as gay.
Yeah.
You would think the metal community would have said, fuck him, and everybody's like, all right.
Yeah.
He's still fucking cool.
But, I mean,
And then we go, oh, fuck, we were duped. We were wearing leather and shit because we thought it was cool.
leather
No.
and spikes and chains.
That came from an S&N shop. I mean, a whole generation of metalheads were wearing leather and shit because of Rob Halford. He was the fucking best. He was the coolest dude in the world.
Right.
Oh, he's gay. That came from an S&N shop. Son of a bitch, we got fucked.
But, I mean, okay, think about it. The biker and the village people.
Right.
With the leather hat and everything. Yeah. Then everybody remembers Police Academy.
Right. I mean,
The Blue Oyster Club.
we basically knew that village people were,
What?
Wasn't a surprise.
No.
Boy George. Yeah, wasn't a surprise.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that one wasn't a surprise. Okay, so we've talked about the JFK assassination conspiracy. Let's move on to one that still a little before her time, but one that she's done a lot of reading on. And that is the September 11th terrorist attacks. So, if you will, please lead us off.
I don't even know where to start. There is so much on. I believe it was terrorist,
Right.
but the details about how people believe the explosion started in the building. People believe that there's footage showing that, the plane, I don't even know. There's so much.
I honestly, when it was happening, I was working in Bolivar, and it was early in the morning.
Yeah.
It was like 10 o'clock our time, or might have been 8 o'clock. I don't know. I was at work.
No, it was a little bit later than that because
My-
it was like 9 o'clock Arizona.
Okay. But my boss goes, you got to come see this shit. I'm like, what? And he had TV on, and the first tower was burning. We watched the live news of the second plane, boom, hit the second tower. It's like, what the fuck? It was so surreal. And we're just sitting there, and we had work to do.
Yeah.
But we just sat there in front of the TV, and we just stared at it, watching it. It's like, what is going on? Why would a
747.
No, it was bigger than that, wasn't it?
The 747 is like the biggest.
Well, I thought they had a 757. It was an international.
I believe those numbers go down. I mean, the higher they go, the smaller the plane. I believe. I don't know. I'm not 100%.
It was one of the Airbuses,
But
it was made.
I will put it like right about here, exactly what type of plane it was.
Both of those planes were made to fly from New York to England,
Yes.
loaded with fuel.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a ton of fucking jet fuel.
Yeah.
When that second one hit, it was like it went in, and then all of a sudden you see come out both sides. I mean, the plane didn't go all the way through the building. It went in and blew up. And then what was really surreal was watching it and seeing people jump out of the building because the fire was, they couldn't get down through the elevators were screwed and all that, the stairwells. So they were above it, and they were actually jumping out of that building.
And how many stories up was that?
A lot.
Yeah, it was.
A lot. It was,
The
Empire State
towers-
Building's 100 stories, and both these buildings are like 120.
Yeah, they were the largest buildings.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly what floor it hit on, but the people above,
Yeah.
it was either jump or burn up.
Yeah.
And they were jumping out. It was like, that is fucking crazy. And then the news started, the rumors started going around, they're going to shut down the pipelines and everything. You better fill up your tank now, and da-da-da-da-da. And we ended up leaving work, and I'd filled up the day before. I wasn't really worried about that, but there was nobody in town. Bolivar was dead except at the gas stations, and they were lined up like it was in the 74 gas crunch.
Yeah.
It's like, this is fucking weird. And then we came home and sat there and watched it on the news. It's like, it was surreal.
It's one of those things that we, you know exactly where you were when you saw it. You knew what you were doing.
Right.
A lot of it is like when we watched, because you were still in school at the time, watching the Challenger.
No, I was graduated. That was 87.
Okay. Yeah.
But I remember seeing it, yeah.
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 I mean, we were watching it live in school. I was in 6th grade. So we were watching it live as it happened. And we had never seen anything like that happen live on television. And my buddy Aaron and I,
Because everybody, you know, oh, they're launching another shuttle. Everybody sits around and
but I mean, this
down there in
one,
orbit. Da, 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 da. Okay, cool.
but this one had the first teacher
Right.
supposed to go into outer space. And we didn't even, I mean, we saw this, and my buddy Aaron and I, we started laughing because we didn't think it was real. But then fast forward to September 11th, 2001, I was asleep. I was working overnights at that time. And my daughter's mom, who was very pregnant, comes in and wakes me up because she is afraid that I'm going to get called back up. And she turns on the TV in the bedroom, and I'm waking up, and I sit up, and I see that second plane hit the fucking tower. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then you hear about the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Then you hear about Flight 93 in the field in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And
the cell phone call that somebody had made to their parents from that flight saying, we're not going to let this happen.
yeah,
We love you. And
I mean,
that
all
plane crashed.
all of the, you know, I've went back and I've watched the like the 20 years after, and they're still finding bones on rooftops from blocks away.
Yeah.
And I mean, they found landing gear in between two buildings that 3 blocks away, and the space between the buildings was like maybe 12 inches. And this thing was jammed. You could see where it just clawed its way through the brick. And it's like, fuck me.
Of course, the conspiracy theory is that the buildings were set to detonate.
That there was an explosion from the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And reason being on that,
I think a lot of that comes from how the building collapsed.
yeah, because it went down just like we've all seen perfect demolitions.
Yeah, I mean, it just crushed from the bottom, essentially.
The way they explained it at the time was these planes had so much fuel on them, and when they hit and caused that explosion and all that fuel caught, that once that structure of that floor gave way, that it was like a domino effect, because the next floor wasn't designed to hold that weight. And then the next floor, and it just kept multiplying.
But it didn't hit at the top. It hit like
It was
5-6 floors down.
right,
And you had all that weight.
right.
And
once,
it just...
once that steel structure melted, because steel, honestly, and I've seen this years ago, a wood beams and stuff actually survive a fire better than steel beams do.
Yep.
Because steel will melt and just collapse, where the wood just burns. But yeah, and that's how the official explanation was. It was like a domino effect. Once that first floor gave, and it just kept multiplying as it went down. And I seen the first building go down when I was still at work, and the flag is up on the top of it. And it didn't teeter one way or another very much as that thing just went.
Right.
And a big boom.
And it,
Would you not think at some point, though, it would, snap off?
no, because this is something that in San Francisco, because of course California is big on earthquakes, but those buildings are meant that during an earthquake, because if you see one in California, the building goes like this.
Yeah.
Because of the way that everything is at the bottom.
Well,
but if it breaks, it goes straight down. It's built to go straight down, so everything around it doesn't collapse.
Right.
And anybody that has ever dealt with JP8, jet fuel, that shit burns hotter than any other fuel on the planet.
And it's got an oil mixture too, where it doesn't evaporate like gasoline.
Right.
It's kind of like kerosene.
Yes.
It's a little thicker, and so it don't just evaporate and go away, or just flash burn. It burns.
Right. And then there's the conspiracy that a missile was launched, and that's what took out the plane. But
the plane I seen go into the second building looked perfectly fine.
Right. And then you've got people. Well, the towers, 2 planes took them down. But yet one plane hit the Pentagon, and it only took out a corner.
Well, it's not stacked on top of itself.
And it was already at a downward projectile because the area around that corner, it took a hit. And then, of course, with Flight 93, the one that went down in the field in Pennsylvania, they took it down in a field because those people said, fuck this, we ain't going down without a fight.
Right.
And that's why...
that one was supposedly headed for the White House, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That one was headed for the White House, and they got it to veer off. And then it was after...
It's like, you motherfuckers got box cutters? Fuck you. There's enough of us. We're gonna crash before we get there, or we're gonna take this over. One of the two.
And that's where, the cockpit door, it can't be opened.
Right.
I mean, it's damn near a vault. And
so no more. So, Billy, have you ever seen a grown man naked? Airplane. If you haven't seen that movie, you got to watch that movie.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. I speak jive.
Yeah.
And the best part about that,
another movie that couldn't be made today.
Oh my God. Well, and the best part about that movie, not to go off on a tangent, was Mrs. Cleaver,
right,
who spoke jive,
right,
and it was supposed to be Harriet from the Ozzie and Harriet show.
Oh, okay.
She turned it down because she thought it was against it. It would ruin her image.
Oh, okay.
But then after the movie came out, and how I think her name is Beasley, Mrs. Cleaver.
Right.
How popular she became and how good that movie was.
Right.
Until she died, she said that was her biggest regret, was not taking that movie.
That role, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways.
But the conspiracy on 9/11 was that the United States government knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
And they let it happen.
I had read
so we could get into this war.
Yeah.
Over oil.
I had read something about how radio calls were shut off for those flights. So whether it be true or not, that certain calls for those flights were not being received for these specific planes that went in.
Right.
I think that that ties along to the conspiracy as well as them knowing is
Right.
why would those calls not go through?
I mean, because these guys were here for months learning to fly.
Yeah. Now, how does somebody fresh out of flight school become a pilot on an intercontinental flight?
Well, they weren't. Supposedly, they took over the plane and then killed the pilots, and then they flew them into the buildings. Did they have that skill set?
I mean, okay. Landing and taking off
I mean,
is like the
Sully could have done it. He landed a plane in the fucking Hudson River. Sully.
I mean,
His name would have been Biff. They would have been fucked. You got to be named Sully.
if his name would have been Chad.
Yeah.
But you know, it's there's a lot of conspiracies, and I know a few people that believed, like, went hook, line, and sinker for the Michael Monroe Fahrenheit 9/11.
Fahrenheit 9/11, yeah.
And no, not Fahrenheit 9/11,
Yeah.
but Fahrenheit.
Yeah. I've watched that
Yeah.
video.
Um,
Michael Moore.
yeah, Michael Moore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, and there's the
And that in that deal, they think that the Pentagon actually got hit by a missile
yes,
and not a plane because of, according to that video, there was nothing. They never found a tail section or anything. They think it actually got hit by a missile.
right. Now, I know somebody that after that movie became a staunch 100% Democrat because John Kerry was the best thing since fucking Betty White. Really? You're going to believe a movie maker who has made money off the tragedies of Bowling for Columbine? You know, kids going into a school, the first big public fucking school shooting. You're going to believe that guy that's made money off of dead kids? I mean, some people just don't have a soul.
And the one that really got fucked in Columbine, besides the kids and the families and all that, I'm not downtrodden that, but Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
He actually said it. He said when he seen it happen, he goes, "I wonder how they're going to blame me for this." And sure enough, those kids that done the shooting, they had some Marilyn Manson tapes, and they blamed Marilyn Manson for it.
Well, I
And
mean,
he's like,
but that goes back
what
to
the fuck?
right, and that goes back to the 80s
Oh, yeah.
with the kids committing suicide and the parents suing fucking Judas Priest.
Or Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, suicide solution.
Yeah. Well, they had an Ozzy Osbourne tape, and it had the song "Suicide Solution" in it.
And if you play it backwards, it says shoot, 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 shoot.
Yeah, that was a Judas Priest film. Yeah. It's like, okay, here at J&M Solve the World, we do not do any backmasking to have our followers kill themselves because we want all of our followers. Why wouldn't bands be the
Right.
same way?
Right. Why would I make an album
Yeah,
that if you play it backwards, you're going to kill yourself?
right.
Who's gonna think to play it backwards?
And you can't nowadays.
No.
I mean, back in the days when we had LPs,
Yeah.
you could actually go.
But who's gonna think to do
Because
that?
it sounded cool. It was like,
But-
oh, what? He said smoke marijuana.
You're right. But it ruined the needle,
Oh, yeah.
and it was only hip-hop DJs that ever played a record backwards. But it was,
The best way to do it is on a 4-track. and I can't remember exactly how we did it, but I had a 4-track back when we had our band.
Allegedly.
And I played, we recorded another one, Bites the Dust, because supposedly that song said smoke marijuana backwards.
Ooh.
And recorded on track 1, played it back on track 4, played it backwards. It was like, smoke marijuana, smoke marijuana. Right. I guess you could say that says smoke marijuana, but I've never listened to that song and I'm like, God, you know, I need a fucking joint.
Right.
Subliminal messaging didn't work on me.
No.
Apparently.
No.
It's like I'm about to say, I need another beer.
Now, before we get into the one that has been fucking a lot of people as of late, meaning the last couple of years.
Fucking or fucking them up?
Fucking them up.
Okay. Clarify.
Like completely. I want to bring up the conspiracy as to why the United States government will not legalize marijuana.
Oh, okay.
Now, my belief, and in my experience, the federal government, when ran by a Democratic president and or Congress, has been all about gun control. That's been the number one topic. Now, to legally purchase a gun in the United States, you have to fill out a form 4473. And one of the questions is, do you use a controlled substance, regardless of whether your state has legalized it or not?
Right.
Marijuana is considered a controlled substance. It is prescribed, but still illegal nationwide. On one hand, states that have legalized marijuana have made so much money off the tax. On the other hand, states that have legalized marijuana, they haven't had the school shootings or the big shootouts that everybody seems to think that marijuana brings.
No, because it calms you down.
The government is a greedy fucking organization.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
100%.
Taxation is theft. But
I do like roads, though. And airports and
paying
schools and
willingly,
fire departments
right,
and police departments.
Willingly,
You know, the socialist part of capitalism.
Willingly giving to these organizations. I got it.
I mean, I look at my property tax, not my personal property tax, and it breaks it down what percentage of what's going everywhere. The biggest part of my property tax goes to Bolivar R1 schools because I'm in the Bolivar school district. If you're in Skyline, if you're in Buffalo, that's the biggest part of your tax.
Right.
Then it's like road and bridge and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it breaks it all down. And I don't mind that.
Right.
Even though I don't have a kid in school, I haven't had a kid in Bolivar since I was in Bolivar. But I don't want a bunch of stupid kids. You know, I want them to be, I want all of our kids to be educated to the best that they can be educated. So it's like Rogan says, you know how you stop a bunch of stupid shit? Raise smarter kids. And if they've got an opportunity to get educated, if they wanted to educate 4 years of college, I would be on board with that too. But it's got to be done right. You can't, you know.
Well, at the same time, you get these kids that get a college degree in ancient, they get a college degree in Sanskrit.
I got a bachelor's in makeup. well, great. Hopefully you can find a job in Hollywood.
Yeah. Sanskrit,
Right.
a 10,000-year-old dead language.
That's why I like trade schools.
Yes. And that's
Learn an occupation.
Mike Rowe, 100% all about trade schools.
Yep.
Because,
You're learning hands-on.
right.
And you're not going into a college and taking a bunch of bullshit classes where maybe in the last year you finally get to learn what you wanted to go learn. But nursing school, like OTC or something like that, learn HVAC, auto body, mechanics, fucking electrical line, something in 2 years you could be going out making a great living,
Right.
and not stuck with $500,000 of fucking college debt.
Right. Now, my nephew, he goes to Abilene University, one of the best nursing schools, and I'm going to say in the world, because his freshman year, their quarterback on their football team, who is getting his nursing degree, was from Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But my nephew will graduate in 2025.
So does anybody have trouble in the huddle? It's like, okay, do that to go. What to do?
Yeah.
Habib, what is it? 89 or 90?
Yeah.
90. Okay, I know where I'm going now.
My nephew will graduate in 2025 with a bachelor's of science in nursing. Now, yes, he went to school with a partial football scholarship, but I don't give a shit how you get to college, but make sure your degree is worth a shit.
Right.
I don't give a fuck if you've got a degree in modern paleontonic fucking black paint. I don't know. I completely made that up.
Yeah,
Obviously.
apparently so. 'Cause
But, people
I
that
graduated ball, but I never heard of that one.
underwater basket weaving. Why do you need a degree in underwater basket weaving?
Where underwater welding will get you paid big time.
Well, you also have to think about world comes to an end. How's your degree in cosmetology, hair and makeup going to save your life versus knowing how to save a life or knowing construction, knowing how to help rebuild something?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, cosmetology, that's a great field for a lot of people go into. That's, and they open their own beauty shop and they can make a great living at it.
Yes.
But some of these degrees that's, like you said, underwater basket weaving or whatever the fuck, but it's like, really?
What?
You're just going to college for a college experience, and that's fine too. Don't get me wrong. I didn't go to college. I took 2 years of VOTEC while I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that same job for, 40 years.
God, you're old.
I'm old. And I think, I need to do something different, but it's like, what can I do now
Yeah.
that's going to pay me the same kind of money that I'm making right now?
Well, and that's, Bert Kreischer talks about it when he talks about, when he was 21 years old, he joined the Russian mafia.
Right.
And the chaperone with the liberal arts degree.
Right.
This shit is over.
Fuck you. This is Russia.
Yeah. Fuck that bitch. This is Russia. But, what's a liberal arts degree going to get you?
Right.
That and $1.50 is going to get you a cup of coffee in any diner in America.
Right. So way back to conspiracy.
Yes. Now we go to the Mandela effect,
My favorite.
which has fucked so many people in the Gen X generation.
Right.
It's like all of a sudden, and one of the ones that when I did the research on this that really came up, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there's people that believe that Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father,"
That was one of my favorite ones.
Right.
because the actual line is, "No, I am your father."
Yep.
Or like Scott, beat me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
That was never said.
No.
On the show, never.
No.
But there's T-shirts. Beat me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
you know,
in one of the movies, it was Molt Choi Cho.
well,
And that was Molt beat me up because he was speaking Klingon.
yeah. You know, in the whole Mandela effect, the name came from a writer who honestly thought that Mandela had died in prison back in the 80s.
And her, along everyone else,
Yes.
soon realized it was years later. He became president.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it he became president of?
South Africa.
Yeah, he became president and everything. And all of these people, not just one, multiple people believed he died years ago.
Yeah.
People remember watching it, his funeral and everything. No,
Right.
never happened.
And what the Mandela effect comes down to is you get, and it's easier in today's society because of social media and everything.
Google and
Right.
yeah.
But you get one person to say it, and then everybody picks up on that. And enough people say it, it becomes fact.
It's kind of like the old deal we used to play when you had 10 or 15 people in a room, and I whisper a story in your ear,
Yep.
and then you whisper the story, and you whisper, and by the time it gets to Matt, that story is nothing like what I told you.
Completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
Or by the time it gets around the circle back to you, you're like,
What?
what?
I didn't say cats were fucking dogs. What the hell are you talking about?
No.
Of course, that also depends on how much you're drinking at the time, too.
Now, see, I remember playing that game when I was in junior high.
Yeah.
And this is before any of us started drinking.
And it's a short, I mean, you don't even have to, like, tell a long story. It's just like,
No.
little Johnny went to the store to pick up a gallon of milk.
Right. That's it.
He had $7, and
Yeah.
he got $3 change back, and
Yeah.
he went home.
Little Johnny went to the store to pick up milk.
Right. And by the time it gets back, it's little Johnny found a whore and
Yeah.
went up the hill and
You know, it gets back to you, and Big John Stud fucked Andre the Giant in the ass.
Yeah.
What? I never said that shit.
Or Jack and Jill went up the hill, both with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50.
Oh!
What about the more visual ones, though, that people believe?
Yeah.
One of the main ones, you search the Mandela effect, one of the main things is Fruit of the Loom. The brand, Fruit of the Loom.
With
Right.
the,
Cornucopia,
yeah.
behind the brand. There are people who find old pieces of clothing. I even remember old T-shirts and stuff as a kid. It has a cornucopia. The brand themselves came out with the yearly from the year they started production to now. Not a single logo has a cornucopia on it. But why do we have proof? Why do we have people who visually remember?
Knockoffs. Maybe.
Could be.
Chinese knockoffs, maybe. I don't know.
Or the brand isn't, I mean, or it's the, like I said, the brand came out saying, no, we never did that. What if they're hiding something? What if they're lying? Like, oh, all these people believe. A lot of the Mandela effect relates to the idea of an alternate universe. That's why some people believe this is what I remember, this is what I know, but then Jack over here says, no, that's not it. That's not what I remember.
Right.
Because of the idea of an alternate universe, they collide. This person says yes, this person says no.
Or it could just prove that humans have shitty memories.
That too. Yes.
Well, but when you have visual proof.
Right.
I understand the
logo.
whole he said,
Yeah.
she said gets down the line, but what
Right.
about the visual memories?
Right.
Right.
How do you alter that?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a T-shirt with Fruit of the
Yeah.
Loom with the cornucopia on it. You're like,
Okay, that's what the brand is. That's
Yeah.
what the logo is.
like I say, unless it's a knockoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most
know.
knockoffs are gonna, like, they're gonna misspell the word
Well, like the shirt Chris was wearing in our first show,
"freak in the room," or the
fucking go nuts.
fucking go nuts.
Yep. The Dunkin' Donuts, but it was a fucking go nuts.
Yeah, the Fruit of the Looms logo and everything, but it said "freak in the rooms."
Yeah.
God, what was another one that he had?
There's like the Looney Tunes.
Yep.
Tunes being spelt different.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
People believe Tunes was spelt different. It was either Tunes or Toones.
Right.
Yes. See, we all remember the OONES
Right.
cartoons,
Right.
but it was actually UNES as in music.
Music. Right.
But then that makes sense with the Merry Melodies because the M's were a musical note and Merry and Melodies were musical notes. And they were always part of the production team of the Looney Tunes. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
One of the other crazy ones, I was going to bring up the Star Wars one, and you had brought that one up, but the famous Snow White line, mirror, mirror on the wall.
Ah, yes.
It's not that.
No.
There are songs about it. Quotes.
Or mirror on the wall.
It's
Who's the fairest of them
yes.
all?
Yes.
Supposedly, it's magic mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's years later, there's mirror, mirror on the wall. No, it was magic mirror on the wall.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, I can
course,
say this
I-
when it comes to that, because you can also, like, I remember the original Star Wars when Han Solo comes face to face with Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt is a man in a fur coat, not a slug. Luke Skywalker, when he got the lightsaber from Obi-Wan in Obi-Wan's cave, was yellow, not blue. Like Rey at the end of episode Rise of Skywalker, episode 9. She had a yellow lightsaber. See, I remember this shit because I remember going to the fucking theater. I can't remember what I ate yesterday for dinner, but I can remember this movie.
I remember standing in line outside of the Drake Theater for a long time to get in to see Star Wars. The Drake Theater in Bolivar, which is a Christian theater thing now. It's right there just off the north side of the square. I also remember standing in line at the Galois or the Fox. One of them in Springfield. Galois is still there.
Yep.
Galois does concerts and shit now. To see Jaws. I mean, back
Fuck,
then,
you're old.
Yeah, you had to stand outside in line to go see those movies back then. Nowadays, everybody just walks in, sits down.
Yeah.
No line.
Because they buy the tickets.
Well,
Online.
it don't even matter about the tickets, but I mean, there was, I don't know how many people the Drake held. It was a lot. It was a big theater because it had a balcony and everything. But, the doors were shut until X time, and we were lined up around going down towards the square to go see a movie.
Dude, I remember
It's like-
standing in line for 2 hours to see Batman. The Michael Keaton Batman.
Michael Keaton, yep.
Yes. And we walked out of there, and it was like, what? And we thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Mhm.
And then I look back after watching the Christian Bale Batmans, after watching all the other Batmans, and it's like, in my ratings of the Joker, Jack Nicholson is,
Yeah. Heath Ledger's best Joker.
oh, hands fucking down.
I mean, even better than,
Cesar Romero,
the new
Jack
one.
Nicholson,
No,
Jared Leto,
no, the new guy,
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Fuck that guy.
He was creepy, but Ledger, hands down.
Fuck Joaquin Phoenix.
He done
That Joker doesn't belong in the DC universe.
he done a great Johnny Cash.
I mean,
Did you see that one?
he walked the line.
Yep.
He did better than Danny DeVito talked about in Be Cool.
Not familiar with that one.
Be Cool. John Travolta. The Rock plays a bodyguard who happens to be gay.
I have seen that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito said that he was going to play the Man in Black,
Oh,
but all the camera angles were going to be up from the bottom because
because Danny DeVito's 4'2".
Travolta said, wasn't Johnny Cash like 6 foot? Yeah, but they're going to shoot everything from below. Okay. Okay, one of the conspiracy theories or theories in general that I want to bring up. Now, Hispanic people, in my opinion, are the biggest Christian-based faith people because they're the only
They're pretty much all Catholic.
they are the only ones that name their children Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And we as Americans see it as Jesus.
Yeah.
But why is it that I've never heard of anybody. I've done a Google search and never found anybody with the name Lucifer.
I guess you'd have to be a Satanist to name your kid Lucifer.
Yeah, but if you're not a religious person, I mean, that's a cool fucking name.
Cool name, yeah. That'd be a great wrestling gimmick.
Yeah.
I think there's been a couple Lucifers in wrestling.
Well, I mean,
None that's made it big.
Undertaker.
Yeah, his name wasn't Lucifer, though.
No. You know, or Samael. You know, because there's a Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Granted, there's nobody named Axe.
James is big.
James. Adam.
Yeah,
Eve.
Yeah.
Cain.
There's a few Cains.
Yeah. Abel.
And he was the good one.
Yeah.
I know some people with the last name of Abels.
Now, according to a TV show, that it's a TV show, but it makes sense. It makes you think. Abel was the first person in hell. Even though Cain killed him, Abel was the first person in hell because he was a bad person.
He's a prick, huh?
Yeah. And that's why Cain killed him. And Cain's punishment was to walk the earth for eternity.
So he's still out there.
He's hiding.
In theory. In theory.
Or maybe
Cain-
he just reincarnates. Maybe he was Hitler. Maybe he was...
Well, but you would think, okay, we're in the 21st century now.
Uh-huh.
You would think after 2,100 years or whatever it is. Fuck. I don't know.
That'd have been Jesus' time.
Yeah.
Abel would have been way before that.
Right. But you would think after so long, you would just say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm tired of trying to take over the world because this shit ain't going to fucking happen.
Maybe he started the Illuminati. There's another conspiracy.
Maybe he is the Illuminati.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, there's a saying that women, when a woman is, and it's a meme. I'm gonna preface that with it's a meme.
Not a scientific fact.
No, but it's a meme that says women, if you're riding a man and he grabs your hips and starts thrusting, or he grabs your waist and he just starts like taking control, don't look him in the eyes. Because either A, he's trying to get you to fall in love with him, or B, he's trying to get you to join the Illuminati. The choice is yours.
I've never heard that.
I just happened to see it on the gram of
Now I'm
Insta.
thinking, oh God,
Kaitlyn's like, oh,
what have I done?
What's that bastard been doing to me? What the hell?
did I join the Illuminati? Fuck.
Of course, another conspiracy theory, which I am a major part of, is a Masonic lodge. The Freemasons. We're taking over the world. Yep.
Again?
It's funny. I've been master of my lodge.
You've mastered your lodge?
No, the worshipful master of my lodge.
Oh, okay.
Been the high priest of the chapter of York,
Clan?
right?
What?
That's the Grand Poobah.
You're the Grand Poobah. What do you got? Like a water buffalo fucking?
Yeah, exactly.
Son.
And let's see. What is it? I've been the commander of the commandery. I've been the Raja of a shrine club. I belong to an invite-only organization that I have a very good
Shall
time
not
with.
be
Named.
announced.
Right. And I have never been invited to that meeting where we're the head of the New World Order. You know, I've watched some shit online. It's like going, okay,
Well,
that is funny as shit. Because I mean, they're showing us as we're this dark organization. It's like, you know, if we were a secret organization, why do you think we would have the square and compasses on our vehicles at the front of our lodge?
Well, here's the thing.
Have our shrine symbols. Oh, guess what? Shriners, we help a lot of fucking kids.
Here's the reason why you haven't been invited to join the New World Order.
Because I drink too much.
No.
Oh.
One of the original members is now dead.
Yeah. Scott Hall.
Scott Hall.
Yeah. God damn it.
I mean,
come on, Kev. Give me a call, buddy.
Yeah.
If Hogan calls me, I'm going to think he's lying.
Exactly.
Kev calls me, I'll believe it.
Right.
NWO.
For life.
She don't know what the NWO is.
I'm lost.
No.
Look up old WCW wrestling on YouTube in the NWO.
War. Just look up Monday Night Wars.
You've heard of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash invaded WCW. They were both up in WWF.
Invaded.
But
In quotes.
supposedly they invaded WCW and were going to take over. And they were having this 6-man tag match. Who they were going to bring out a special. They were going to bring out a secret partner. And
The third member.
It was against Sting, Luger, and
The Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
And match is going on, everything. Their third member hasn't came out. And then all of a sudden, here comes Hulk Hogan wearing the yellow and red. I'm a real American. Comes in the ring. He's going to save the day because these two are beating up the good guys, right? Yeah. And he lays waste to the good guys. And he announces that night, we are the NWO. This is the New World Order. And they paint NWO on the back of Macho Man. And the crowd they almost started a fucking riot. You know, by this time in the mid-90s, people pretty much knew wrestling was at work. But they were so fucking pissed that Hulk Hogan,
my God.
He had been a bad guy early in his career, but not since he had been.
Say your prayers and take your vitamins. And
Then he grew out his beard and blackened it, still had the white mustache and wore black and white, and Hollywood Hogan, and that was the NWO.
And he came out to the song All Along the Watchtower.
No.
I mean, I hear that song and I'm thinking Two Life Crew, my 7 Bizzos. But I know that's wrong.
Next to a mountain. Chop it
Jump
down
with
the
the
edge
edge
of
of
my
my
hand.
hand. Doo-doo-doo.
That's not All Along Watchtower. That's
Yeah.
Voodoo Child.
Ah, there it is.
Yep.
I stand corrected. Another.
It's the effect.
Yeah. Another one of the Mandela effects is the song Jack and Diane.
Little Diddy.
Yeah. Little Diddy. No. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. Journey. Just a small town girl living in South Detroit.
There is no South Detroit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Took that midnight train, goes on and on and on. Yeah.
You're not the voice. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. I know I'm not the fucking voice. I can harmonize with somebody, but being lead vocals,
He did okay on God of Thunder.
yeah. And if we ever learned how to...
Better than He Shall Not Be Named.
Oh, fuck yeah. And if we ever learned how to play Born to Be Wild, I can do a great fucking Rob Zombie.
That's pretty simple. It's not a lot different than Wild Seed.
Yeah.
I kind of ripped that off.
What?
It's similar. It's not exact.
Well, it's like, okay, Engine.
Uh-huh.
Da, 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 da. Sounds like a song from a band from New York.
It's a riff.
They have a song kind of similar.
Lyrically.
But they spell Indian, or theirs is called Indians,
In the ends.
and ours is called Engine,
And,
as in 427.
and the bad thing about it was cancel culture wasn't a thing back then.
No.
But we were going, we don't want to piss anybody off, so we spelled it E-N-G, engine, instead of I-N-J-U-N.
Yeah.
Because we thought, but we didn't make it big enough for any indigenous people to get pissed. But if they'd have listened to the song, they'd been like, that's fucking cool.
Right. I mean, it's the fucking Trooper from Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
They're an English band.
Right.
And they're singing about the white man came across the seas. He brought us pain and misery.
Mm-hmm.
He killed our tribes. He killed our wives.
Well, in our song,
Yeah.
those ancient books that Ann listens to,
Yeah.
if you listen to our song again, you'll hear, Father, Son gave them life, Mother Earth. You know, that all comes from those books because she helped Chris write that.
Yes. She actually has writing credits.
Yep.
On that album.
Yep.
Which is available if you would like your own copy of Blind Sides. Want you some, get you some.
Where's that Mandela effect again?
Or it's the Jesse James effect. I'm just saying.
We was talking about JFK. RFK Jr. has come out and said that Sirhan did not kill his father. And he has talked about this, and he said because Sirhan was at the front of his father. The Secret Service was behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. When they came in, and Sirhan did pull out a gun, fired off, I think it was 2 rounds, whatever, before they grabbed a hold of him. The bullet that killed his father was in the back of his head. He said, I know good and well that it was the Secret Service that killed my father. I think it's on the Joe Rogan podcast that he was on, but he was talking about that, and I'm like, because he's like, because Sirhan would come up for
Parole
and everything,
Yeah.
and he was on his side. He said he didn't kill my dad. He may have wanted to,
Yes.
but he did not kill him.
Now, okay.
He said it was the inside. He was taken out.
Well,
And that's
okay.
according to RFK Jr.
Jeffrey Epstein was supposed to be in 24-hour watch.
Mhm.
How did he commit suicide if he's on 24-hour watch?
And how come his cohort in that crime just got sentenced to basically life in prison, but the list of people who supposedly went to Epstein Island
Yeah.
has never been released? And I'm not saying that as a Democrat or Republican view. I'm just saying there's a bunch of big name hitters on that list that if that ever came out, oh, it would be bad. I mean, there's plane records that shows Clinton, Trump, a bunch of well-known people, but there's never been a list of who were actually there with the young females, and just makes you go,
Now, okay. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
Okay.
Epstein's Island was outside of American jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Okay. In theory, its own country. Now, who's to say what the law of the land is on Epstein Island?
I think the underage girl thing kind of goes across borders.
But, okay, what do you consider underage? Because every state has a different age for consent.
Yeah, but it's pretty much 18 across the United States.
And some states are 16.
Yeah. And it depends on if you're like a Mennonite or Amish and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them are married at 14.
Yeah.
But they're their own governing body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's just
Native Americans.
It's just kind of funny that there's never been, she got sentenced and put in prison. He's dead. But there's never been a list of.
Well, I mean, how many judges that came up for the Clinton fiasco ended up committing suicide with 2 bullets in the back of the head?
Which fiasco?
Anything that involves Hillary?
Okay.
Yeah, I fucking said it.
What about the guy that hung himself and then shot himself in the chest? Can't remember who that was, but that was, hung himself and then shot himself in the chest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it was suicide.
Or the people that have the 2 bullet holes in between their eyes. Oh, it's an apparent suicide.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I'm going to do it, which, of course, I'm a pussy, and I'm not ever going to commit because I cannot inflict pain on myself.
The self-preservation thing kicks in.
Well, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to suck start my fucking handgun, not here. Because if I have it here and I pull the trigger, it's a good chance it's going to go through my brain and I'm going to be fucking bleh. Whereas if I have it here, I could flinch, I could cough, and it could skim the outside of my skull or skim the outside of my brain. And then I'm living the rest of my life
Crippled.
Eating pudding.
I like green M&Ms because they're the girl M&Ms.
I think this would be a good place for our, not disclaimer, but our suicide number.
You know, if because it is the new year.
And the holidays can be depressing to a lot of people.
Very,
You know,
very depressing to a lot
it's
of people.
supposed to be a good time, but
Yes.
just that burden of money and gifts and
Or just being
or
alone.
just being alone. Yes.
Right. From any cell phone, you dial 988. That is the National Suicide Hotline. There is somebody available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to talk to you. Because you may not feel comfortable talking to people that you know because you think, oh, they're going to judge me.
Yeah, I'm a weak person now because I.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Regardless of whether you're male, female, gay, straight, bi, tri,
Identify as a Furby.
non-binary, or, whatever. If you're part of the alphabet tribe or whatever it is.
You're a human being.
Yes. 988. There is somebody there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to talk to you. They don't judge because they don't know you. They only know what you're going to tell them.
Right.
And a lot of times, that's all you need is somebody to listen.
Back on conspiracies.
Yes.
I got one.
Ooh.
Flat earthers.
That's not a fucking conspiracy.
No,
Those are just
no,
fucking idiots.
No, listen to me. Here's the deal.
Okay.
We've got plenty of scientific proof. We got satellites up we've seen the Earth from the moon. There's another one. But we know cats have been around for billions of years.
But yet they're the only animal not mentioned in the Bible.
Didn't know that, but anyway, cats have been the Noah movie I seen showed lions and tigers walking up the ramp.
Yeah, but lions and tigers have never been known to be assholes, like household cats. Now, if you had Snapchat, you would know that because you would follow JBlues3 on Snapchat.
You know the difference between a lion and your household cat?
A couple 100 years of evolution?
About 400 pounds. That's about it.
Wait a second. Are you talking like a normal household cat, or are you talking about Sully?
Okay, 380 pounds. But anyway, cats have been around for a long time.
Yes.
If the earth was flat, everything would be knocked off of it.
Right.
There would be nothing on earth because cats would have knocked all that shit off. So we can dispel that fucking deal.
Well, and the fact that I have flown from California to Japan. I have flown from Kentucky to Iraq, Kentucky to Afghanistan, and it wasn't flat.
Right. If you stand at a major body of water, like the ocean, and you look out, that some bitch looks taller than where you're standing. And it also does this. Yeah, you're not going to see this because the earth ain't that small.
Right.
But there's a round. When we were at Lake Erie, it's like, wow. It was even more pronounced than what I've seen at the ocean. It just looked like up at the horizon was 100 foot taller than where we were standing. It's like, how is this not crashing down on us?
Right. Now, those of you that have just seen that, he's talking about the horizon, not Hitler.
No, not me.
Yeah. Anyways, standing at the top of Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
You look out and you can see the ocean and the ground and everything below you. And
it eventually stops. if it was flat, you'd see straight forever. It eventually stops.
Mhm.
It's got to curve somewhere for
Yes.
your vision to stop seeing it.
Okay, if the Earth was flat, you would see the moon 24 hours a day.
Where's your rotation? How's a flat Earth?
And
We would have to be the center, like they thought back hundreds of years ago when they really thought the Earth was flat, and they thought the moon and the sun revolved around the Earth.
not the other way around.
Right. But we know now through science, and we
Yeah.
have big telescopes, the Hubble, and then the new one that's up there in outer space. And no, we go around the sun, and that's why we have seasons, because the Earth is tilted at this axis.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're closer to the sun in the north, it's summertime, because the Earth is rotating, but it's all closer to the sun. But when you get on the backside, it's wintertime, and it's summertime in the south, because
Yep.
it's closer to the sun.
Yep.
And why would the Earth be the only flat planet? Why has no one talked about a flat Earth but not a flat moon or a flat sun? Why would the Earth be the only flat one?
Maybe
Exactly.
everything's flat in 1D. It just rotates around itself.
Venus, which is the closest planet to us, because it's actually closer than Saturn or Jupiter. Jupiter. It's closer than Jupiter.
Isn't Mars next?
Mars is closer than Venus.
Yeah, that's what I said, Mars. Come on. But Venus actually rotates backwards,
Yeah.
whereas like Mercury, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn,
We're the third
Uranus, Pluto,
Neptune.
Neptune, that too, goes clockwise. Venus says, fuck you, and goes counterclockwise. Kind of like the state of Arizona says, fuck your daylight savings time. We're just going to switch time zones. We're in California Western time zone. Now we're in Mountain time zone. Now we're on the West Coast time zone.
but they don't change their clocks.
No.
So
No, it's like they're the only state in America that does not.
there was a bill coming up that was supposed to do the whole
Yeah.
United States was going to say,
Yep.
we're just going to stay on daylight savings time and say, fuck it.
Yep.
It's like, all right.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And then Afghanistan, in their, I forget what actual time zone they're in, because it goes phonetic alphabet. But they said, fuck you, and went half. So, like, it's 11 o'clock in this time zone, and it's 12 o'clock in this time zone.
So they're 11:30.
And exactly. In Afghanistan, they're 11:30. So, as a member of the military, we had to go off of Zulu time, which was basically the
Sure.
Yeah.
date.
Zulus, the tall black people that dance naked? The Zulu warriors?
That's the Zulu Nation.
You said Zulu.
Yeah, I know. But it goes Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta,
Oh, okay.
Echo, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
Zulu. The time, date.
Continuum?
No, it's you have the
Space-time
prime
continuum.
you have the prime meridian that goes through Greenwich, London, to where you pass over the date. Like
That's
it's
not
Thursday
London.
here, and then it's Friday there.
That's not London. That's over by Japan.
There's two of
The
them.
international date line.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. In Japan, it's the international date line. In Greenwich, England, is the prime meridian. That's like the Alpha time zone, or the Zulu time zone, if you will. And it just goes around that way.
You know, Hulk Hogan wrestled over 440 days one year because he was flying back and forth to Japan so many times and crossing the international date line. He actually said that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And if you believe that...
I mean, Ric Flair wrestled over 400 matches in a year.
Yes.
Because they wrestled 7 days a week, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday.
Right.
But not 400 days in a year by crossing back and forth the international date line.
No, because you lose days.
Right. Yeah, you fly across one, you pick up one, and you fly back, and you lose one.
Right.
Just like if we fly to Las Vegas, we gain 2 hours. We fly home, we lose 2 hours.
Right. Right.
Going back to planets, should we start a different conspiracy?
Sure.
Oh, that Pluto is not a planet?
No.
Oh.
The moon landing.
Oh. I have seen the capsules at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. The Apollo capsules.
Yep.
And I've looked at them going, those are fucking small. I'd hate to have been that son of a bitch that long.
Mm-hmm. I've been to NASA twice outside of Orlando. And here's the thing. Yeah, I seen the capsules and the rovers and the spacesuits and the Gemini fucking rocket. The actual Gemini fucking rocket they have there. Mm-hmm. And the fact that a 95-year-old Buzz Aldrin knocked a motherfucker out with a single punch because the guy said that the moon landing wasn't real.
Right.
95-year-old Buzz Aldrin knocked this motherfucker out because he said the moon landing wasn't real.
Mm-hmm. Tell us why that there's a belief that it didn't happen.
I believe
happened.
I believe it did happen, but there is so much contradicting it.
Mm-hmm.
The footprint, the shoe print, not matching. The fact of
not matching.
The bottom of the boot versus the shoe print on the ground of the moon. The shoe prints don't match. The photos of the flag. There's no gravity on the moon. Why does the photos look like the flag's waving? Why does it have that ripple effect to it? If there's nothing.
No atmosphere.
Yes.
No wind.
How was the first photo taken of him? If he was the first man on the moon, who took the photo of him stepping out of the ship?
Mm-hmm.
There was another one. That was like to the point.
Wasn't the original video he was holding the camera and going down the steps and took the first step?
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Right. But wasn't actually him, and it showed holding the camera, and then when he actually stepped foot? Or am I doing the effect again and misremembering?
See, and who was the other guy?
Buzz Aldrin and
Armstrong?
No. Yeah. Glenn Neil
Armstrong.
Yeah. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the ones that actually were on the moon. And the one that is never spoke about, he's the one that was back on the capsule that had the hardest job of getting them back together.
Right.
The landing gear on the moon lander was dished up because they didn't know what kind of surface it was. And if it was moon dust, as we know now, it would set on top. Now, yes, I understand what you're talking about. The flag because again, they didn't know what they were getting into, and they wanted that photo. So the flag has,
like a metal rod.
yes, it has metal rods in it, and it has foil in it to where the American flag was open.
Mm-hmm.
There's a conspiracy that one of the helmets had a light in it that wasn't the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a studio light.
Mm.
But here's and then the whole, well, why haven't we been back?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
It's like having a crazy ex-girlfriend that has super duper sex, or a crazy ex-boyfriend that has the sex that you've dreamt about. You've went there, you've had it.
Well, we
Now why don't you want to look for something else? Because that's what we have done. Okay, we did the moon. We planted our flag on the moon. We've got the moon. Now, let's go to Mars. Because Mars is known to have the atmosphere the closest to the United States, or closest to Earth. I'm sorry.
Actually, it doesn't have that much of an atmosphere. And according to Elon, because he wants to basically put people on Mars.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere of Mars got ripped away probably during meteorite blasts and whatever.
Yeah.
They have found water or ice on Mars, so they know at one time it had water. It probably had an atmosphere. If you want to go down another rabbit hole, a lot of people think maybe we are the product of that life before, when they knew shit was getting ready to go to fuck. So they transplanted their DNA, shot it to the earth, and that's where we came up from, single cell organisms and blah, 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 blah. That's a whole other theory. But Elon, he's thinking about if you can do strategic nuclear blasts around there, you could actually create another atmosphere. Terraforming, I think is what they call it. But his first step is to colonize the moon, because the hardest thing to go to Mars is getting off the Earth.
Right.
If we could colonize the moon and put a base on the moon where you could launch a ship from the Earth, go to the moon, refuel that ship, now it's got plenty of fuel to get to Mars. Because it takes so much fuel to get off the planet.
To get out of the gravity, the gravitational pull of...
That by the time you get to the moon, you can basically orbit the moon and come home.
Yep.
You ain't going to Mars.
Right.
But if you can get up to the moon, refuel on a space station or something like that, then the trip to Mars would be, even though it's 18 months when Mars is at its closest to the Earth. And the way Mars orbits, 18 months is the closest it gets. And then it gets out to 2.5, 3 years or something like that. He's got a Tesla on the way to Mars. You see that? He launched a fucking Tesla. And it's heading towards Mars.
You know, I'm going to stop this for a moment. And all of you that have your own conspiracies, drop them in the comments. Let us know. Like, share, subscribe. Put us on your socials.
Tell us we're full of shit. Or you agree.
I mean, you know, now, granted, 30 years ago, I was full of shit.
Yeah.
My eyes were brown. Now they're kind of hazel.
Kind of hazel, yeah.
Yeah, so not completely full of shit. And but still, I mean, it's great information. I mean, we could talk hours upon hours upon hours of all the fucking conspiracies that are out there.
We didn't even got into Bigfoot and UFOs yet.
No. No. Or
what is the tic tac that Faber's seen?
Or
a naval Air Force pilot sees something that can go from 80,000 feet to zero in less than a second.
Not just a naval pilot. Naval pilots.
Yeah.
Several, meaning more than one.
Yep.
And they were in the baddest planes on the planet.
And they could explain what these fuckers are doing.
Right. Because they stopped in midair and hovered.
Didn't they actually detect that they were being scanned? Which is an act of war.
It is.
And supposedly this thing went into the water, under the water too.
Yeah.
From the atmosphere.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's Jason Momoa and the Aqua people.
That could be. Or we have a technology now. It's a drone technology. That's a totally different propulsion system than anything that us common people know about. And the United States just it's like, I mean, because why wouldn't you? Because these sightings have been around bases.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you go ahead and put it out? Well, there's craft out there that we don't know what it is. When they know fully well it's our test craft. Or there's somebody visiting. People say, well, it's 100 light years to the closest planet that we think could support life. Light years.
So
100 light years. So that means at the speed of light, it would take you 100 years to get here. But who's to say they're not sending drones? Because we got drones.
Who's to saying that Men in Black is actually a biography?
Yeah, it could be. I've seen some people that I wondered if they weren't aliens.
And what is the government doing?
Or SpaceX Starlink is not only a great internet, but maybe it's a defense system too.
Or maybe they're the ones that developed the Terminators.
No, that's AI. That's coming.
No, it's already here.
It's already here. But I mean, for them to start.
So we could go on and on and on and on and on about this.
We could do a part 2.
We could. But I'm going to tell you what. We're going to end this now.
Okay.
And leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Give us your thoughts on the conspiracies. And if we have enough, we will bring Kaitlyn back. And she will lead the conspiracy theory.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Get in there and comment.
Like, share, subscribe. Again, we get 200 followers on YouTube and 100 followers on Spotify. By the end of July 2024, there will be a J&M Solve the World calendar available for 2025.
You don't want to miss out on that.
And possibly, well, we talked about this before, doing a barbecue for our subscribers.
Yes. It will be here at Stu Ham Productions Studio South, and there's plenty of room.
Might even entertain them with a little bit of music.
We've been known to pick up a git fiddle.
Yep.
From time to time. But on that note, you have just watched another episode of Stu Ham Productions Presents
J&M, solve the world. I have been James.
And I've been Matt. And on behalf of Kaitlyn and all of the conspiracy theorists out there, you keep one fist in the gold, one foot in the gutter, and we will be seeing you.
Peace.